You click this video because you're somebody who values the freedom that money and wealth can bring. You also know that you can earn more money, you can generate wealth, you can live a rich life. You just need to know what to do. As the Bible says, money answereth all things. So it's time to get some answers. Here's why these 5 Bible verses will make you wealthy. First of all, you need to understand something. The Bible is a book of esoteric knowledge. Esoteric knowledge is hidden knowledge, inner knowledge that must be deciphered based on your level of consciousness. What do I mean by this? If I give you a textbook on calculus and you didn't know how to add or subtract, you would have no idea what the textbook was teaching you. The Bible is similar. Many people take parts of the Bible as entirely literal. Maybe it is. But when you look at the text through the lens of universal laws, you decipher new meaning from it. What you don't want to do is get the Bible confused with religion. The Bible comes before modern day religion. Many religions interpret the Bible in a particular way in order to understand the universe. Religion, particularly in the West, is also a business, but that's a totally different story. Now, I'm someone who has studied various world religions, from Hinduism to Buddhism to the Abrahamic religions and certain New Age religions. In this video, I'm not concerning myself with religion. I'm talking about deciphering practical knowledge about earning money and creating wealth within the Bible. And if you're new here, what my wife and I do, and all the people in the comments do, is help you earn more money and generate wealth using the laws of the universe. So let's get into it. The first verse is from someone who will be mentioned a couple times in this video. King Solomon. Solomon is a very important person in the Old Testament, and he's considered to be the richest man in the Bible, not just in material wealth, but in wisdom as well.
And freakiness.
Yeah, that's a different story. The Songs of Solomon. I won't be talking about those today. But kings and queens came from all over the land and paid Solomon for his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This is very important to remember, because if Solomon, who was the richest person in the Bible, was paid for his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, why can't you be paid for your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? But this first verse that I'm going to talk about is Ecclesiastes 10:19. Feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. This is a very important verse. Why? Because there are people, often religious people, who will tell you, money isn't everything. Money won't solve your problems. Why do you want to be rich? Be humble. Oh, the rich are all evil, greedy people. Don't be like them. But if you ask these same people if they'd like to win the lottery, they would say yes, quicker than a heartbeat. They would love to win the lottery. But I thought money is bad. Don't get money. Be humble. Don't be like rich people. Here's the thing. Many of you have been taught to feel guilty about money. Guilt is a repeller of wealth. If you truly feel guilty about something, you will limit your ability to have that thing. In this case, money. Now, when Solomon says money answereth all things, you need to understand that money will solve nearly 99% of your problems. And people hear me say this and disagree with me with incredible vigor. The main thing that people say is, well, money won't fix your mental health, money won't sort your trauma. Oh, really? Do you not think you can pay for top-level therapy? Do you not think you can pay for top-level trauma experts to help you? If you need medication, which I'm not really a fan of for certain mental things, but maybe you do need it, is legitimate, do you not need money to pay for that? Money answereth all things.
And healthy food too, because that's a big thing people don't realize.
Yep, you could pay for healthier food, which will better your health. If you need knowledge about something, you can pay someone to teach you. If you need coaching in a particular field, you can pay someone to coach you. If you have a problem pop up in your life, like your fridge breaks or something, you can pay the repairman to fix it or buy a new fridge. Money answereth all things. Now, here's another example. When I started making decent amounts of money, 5 figures a month, right, I realized I had a lack mentality. My wife one day said to me, we have to buy candy. I said, why? She goes, it's Halloween. We need to buy candy for the kids in the neighborhood. I go, you buy candy for other people? She goes, yes. And I go, so I'm supposed to spend $50 on candy for kids I don't know. And she goes, yes, what's wrong with you? Right? And then it was then I realized I had a lack mentality around money. Why? Because growing up, my parents told me we can't afford that. We don't have enough. Money don't grow on trees. Things you may have heard in your life. So I got older and thought, how can I give anyone anything when I don't have enough? I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough. And this mentality followed me into my mid-20s, even a little later than my mid-20s. Spending $50 on some candy to put a smile on some kids' faces was not going to make me go broke. In fact, I'd be telling the universe I have more than enough because I'm willing to give. Giving allows for more money to come to you, but we'll talk about that later on. My wife, on the other hand, over here, she didn't grow up with the messages my parents gave me. And I love my parents. They're great. But I had to break certain mentalities around money. Her parents never told her we don't have money, we don't have enough, money don't grow on trees. So she didn't grow up with these mentalities. Now, how does this relate to the verse we're talking about? You do not know who you truly are until you get some money. This is because money is an amplifier and exposer of character. Money is a reflection of you. It is a reflection of your service to other people. It's a reflection of your values. It's a reflection of your beliefs. Money answereth all things. Because when you're making good money, you have the freedom to be more of who you are, which will reveal things to you and answer things about your character that you did not know before. Not only your own character, but other people's character too. The fastest way to learn about somebody is to put them in a position to get paid. You will learn about them very quickly because money answereth all things. So now you understand that you need to get money to not only solve problems, but to learn about yourself and the universe around you. It will even solve your problems around earning more money because money is energy. That energy is attracted to certain things. One of those things being someone who already has some money. They say more money, more problems. Maybe. But in my experience, money solves problems.
That's a bar, literally, in
Facts.
a song.
Yes.
One of my favorite songs.
Money solves problems. Next scripture, once again, from Solomon, but this time from the book of Proverbs, which he wrote earlier in his life. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is the slave of the lender. Proverbs 22:7. This, on a surface level, is very obvious. Money and wealth gives one a level of power in the world. The people who run the world, they're not the strongest. They're not the smartest. They're not the nicest. They're not the baddest. They're the richest. Do you understand? If you want autonomy and independence over your life, you're gonna need some money. And here's the thing. On a universal law, hermetic level, those who've ascended certain levels of polarity and rhythm rule the people on the lower levels of polarity and rhythm. You're gonna have to watch my videos in my Kabbalion Wealth series to learn about that. But what do I mean by this? The rich influence the poor in massive ways. This gives the rich power because they will polarize you. They will get you upset about politics. They will get you sad about climate change. They will sway your emotions in order to get you to buy things. That's just one level. But here's another level. The worker doesn't understand the predicament of the boss. The worker may work hard every day and look at the boss and say he doesn't do anything. He just sits up there nice and cushy in his chair and taps away on his computer while I do all this hard labor and all this hard work. He doesn't realize that the boss has to make sure revenues getting generated. He has to make sure payroll happens. He has to make sure clients get fulfilled. He has to make sure the place is properly staffed. He has to make sure the business is well marketed. There are tons more things that fall to the boss's responsibility. That's why he's paid more, and that's why he rules the workers beneath him. And there's always a level of confusion between the masses and the masters, is how I like to call it. The masters would be people who have mastery over their life, and that often involves wealth. There's a level of confusion between the two. The masses are confused as to why and how the richest people in society operate. They don't understand. You watching this channel are no longer going to be part of the masses because you are going to have certain knowledge that the masses do not have. But the rich understand that the masses are ignorant to many things, and when someone is ignorant, they are easier to control, they are easier to rule. But you might say to yourself, Seth, at any time, the poor, which are the masses, can overthrow the rich, and we have more power than them. No, This is not the case. On a universal law level, here's what you have to understand. Those who are rich and have certain mastery over their life end up ruling the people beneath, and it has always been this way. Why has it been that the ruling class throughout history has always had power? There have been revolutions all throughout history, and what happens after a revolution? The same exact thing. They overthrow a certain set of rich people, a new set of rich people rise and rule the poor people once again. The French Revolution, they finished off tons of rich oligarchs, tons of rich people. Do you think that the rich in France no longer rule France? It just happens again because on a universal law level, everything moves up, and those that are up end up ruling those that are below. And that's just universal law. So if you want to have autonomy and control over your life, you need to get some money so that you are not ruled. You understand? So how does this relate to you getting wealthy? Well, one, value money so that you can have autonomy and independence over your own life. And two, realize that the richest people in society are trying to control you, and you can now defend your mind and money against this. Now listen, this control is not necessarily a bad thing. There is no good without bad and no light without dark. That's the law of polarity, which is a different discussion. But what about the second part of this passage? The borrower is the slave of the lender. This is very, very important. Bad debt will stifle your ability to generate wealth. High interest debt, credit cards, etc. They're stealing your money if you don't know how to use them properly. You will become a slave to the lender, the bank, the credit card company, if you allow debt to run your life. And take it from someone who's been in big chunks of debt multiple times in my life. Multiple times. And if I remind my wife about it, she just rolls her eyes.
You know what? I feel like I projected those alignments with you into my reality because I know how powerful my oracle gifts are, and I saw it happen. And me seeing it happen and then sharing it with you was like I almost accepted that reality, and then it manifested.
Well, so go. Be careful what you think and what you say. Handling those debts slowed down my ability to invest in things that make me money instead of take my money. So the concept of debt is also problematic in the mind on a spiritual level, okay? Because the universe is always trying to carry out fair exchange. So when you don't pay your debts, you have a high chance of falling into a guilt charge. And I talk about this in my Money is Emotions video. Something along those lines is what it's called. I made so much now, I don't remember their names. But remember, I said that guilt is a repeller of wealth on a spiritual level. So now you're in all this debt and you feel guilty, and now money is harder to earn and harder to keep. And now your mind is a slave to the lender because you're constantly thinking about it, constantly worried. It's eating up your mental space. Your entire frequency is thrown off simply because of debt. So either you learn how to use debt and be disciplined about it, or you don't use it at all. Now, we're going to move on to one of the most misquoted and misunderstood verses in the entire Bible. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. This is one of the verses used to keep people poor because it's misquoted. People say money is the root of all evil. Now, if you believe that, you will be poor because you will not bring anything into your life that you deem to be evil. So if you think money is the root of all evil, you won't accumulate it. The verse says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. It doesn't say the root. It doesn't say the only root. It says a root of all kinds of evil. Now listen, you need to get money in this life, and that's obvious. But in this case, I'm going to tell you about get-rich-quick schemes in relation to this, because the person carrying out the get-rich-quick scheme is taking advantage of people and aiming to not carry out fair exchange in the universe, so they eventually end up falling. But if you get into a get-rich-quick scheme, you are going to pierce yourself with many griefs. Those who are eager in the pursuit of money, pierce themselves with many griefs, because richness and wealth is not a fast game. Sorry. A lot of other people, a lot of other gurus on the internet will tell you, hey man, in 2 months, I'm gonna make you super rich. If anyone is promising you this, in 2 months, I'm gonna make you rich, just do this particular blah, 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 blah. Just run, okay? Just run, because you're gonna lose your money. You're going to lose your time. You're going to damage trust in people who actually know what they're doing, who could help you, and it's not going to be a good time in general. But you have to ask yourself, why are you trying to get rich quick? The reason people try to get rich quick is because they're often in debt. Just like I mentioned in the previous verse, your frequency is trying to get in equilibrium with fair exchange in the universe. You want to get rich quick so your frequency can be balanced again. This is why people fall into get rich quick schemes and gurus online giving you these grand promises, which simply are not going to work. So if you're desperate, you will rush. And money does like speed, but money doesn't like desperation. Money likes people who know how to handle it. And I've spoken about this in multiple videos now. Once again, like I said, I can't remember them all. Just watch all the videos. But understand this as well. Money is not evil. Money is a tool. A hammer can be used to build or kill. I might have to beep that out on YouTube. But anyways, this is why money is a root of all kinds of evil, because it can be used as a tool for problematic things. If you use the tool in the way it was meant, you will build wealth. Now we're going to hop back over to Solomon again with Proverbs 21:20. The wise have wealth and luxury, but fools spend whatever they get. Now, you need to understand the definition of wisdom to really understand this verse. Wisdom is the soundness of action or decision with regard to the application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. I'm going to slow that down for you, okay? Wisdom is soundness of an action or decision with regards to the application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. You can only be wise if you apply your knowledge. You are not wise about something until you have experienced the application of knowledge. Okay, you can read all these how to make money books for years, but if you never do what is in those books, you aren't wise. Okay, the people who just read and don't do anything, it's actually foolish, as King Solomon says. You think that simply consuming knowledge will change your life. You'll know more stuff, but it's not going to change your life. You need to apply your knowledge. That is what makes you wise. This is why the wise have wealth and luxury, because they apply themselves. So if you have applied your knowledge regarding money, you will become wise regarding money, and you will have wealth and luxury. On the other hand, fools spend whatever they get. Why? Because of two reasons. One, they don't apply knowledge that they have learned regarding money, or two, they simply never learned it. But they can learn. So with this passage, you need to understand, if you just sit and watch my YouTube videos and never apply what I say, then just ask King Solomon about what he thinks of those type of people, right? And this is what I help people with in the next realm. Radical implementation of knowledge. That's the only way you're going to earn more. And that's the only way you're going to be wealthy. So the link is in the description for that. Now, the last verse I'm going to talk about is Luke 6:38. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Remember when I mentioned my Halloween candy example? Well, that moment made me remember the power of giving. When you give, you receive, because you are telling the universe that you are abundant. Why would you give if you didn't have more than enough? When you have more than enough, you get more than you need. You step into your birthright of abundance. Now, this doesn't have to be money that you give. You can give by making YouTube videos. You can give your time to help someone else. You can give your genius to the world by creating a service or a product which you will be paid for. You can give to somebody begging on the street simply because you have more than enough. The giving needs to come from a place of gratitude, though, not guilt. This is very important. Your emotional state when giving is very, very paramount. Giving out of guilt will keep you poor. Tithes often do this to people. They feel guilty if they don't give to the church, when in reality, tithes are not meant to build up the church building and buy your pastor a jet. They're literally in scripture meant to feed and help the poor. So don't give out of guilt. Give out of gratitude. Gratitude that you have more than enough. Gratitude that you have so much that you're able to give. That is how you receive. It is a law of wealth. It is a law of the universe. So, for me and wifey, peace.